What time is it? 7 o'clock. What day is it? Thursday.
Friday.
Friday. How time flies when you have fun.
Good morning.
It's fantastic Friday. We have a special guest with us this morning, all the way from
Palm Cove.
Palm Cove. Coming specially. Doug Holtam, the principal of Freshwater Christian College. Good morning to Doug. Let's bow, clap, whistle, cheer, whatever we need to do. This is the first time on Freshwater Drive. Pray for him. That'd be a great start. A great start to the show. Pray for the guests.
Pray for the principal.
Pray for the principal. Well, we should, shouldn't we? Well, hey, maybe some people out there could be inspired this morning.
Yes.
Start praying for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a good start. Yeah. Well, we have no capacity to know who's listening today, so we might have one person.
My wife.
Your wife, and Taylor's always very faithful. But we didn't invite you. We didn't invite you for me to do all the talking.
Okay.
It's like having a dog and doing all the barking, isn't it? But
we've got Carol listening.
Carol's
Debbie,
listening. Good morning, Carol.
Melanie Fry's
Good morning.
listening.
Oh, Melanie Fry. Oh, Mel, you know Mel.
Yes.
Yeah, Mel.
Good morning, Mel.
Yeah.
Paul, Liz, Robin.
Good on
Good
you.
on him. Robin's in.
How much did you pay them?
Yeah, we're running on a tight budget, as you can tell. That's why we got water. But I thought I got a special joke because I know you and Melissa appreciate.
I love your jokes.
But this one is for Melissa probably as well this morning.
Okay.
It's
You'll love this, Dan.
yeah. Danny was talking. He said, I took my wife on a holiday to the Caribbean.
Yes.
Ryan said, Jamaica. He goes, no, she wanted to go.
That's a dad joke, right?
Yeah.
Or a granddad joke. Right?
To Jamaica. No.
I saw a guy yesterday. He was out on the street. He had a great game of Scrabble.
Yeah.
And he dropped it all over the street.
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, what's the word on the street, mate?" And he looked at me.
Did he? Well, see, there you go. Look, they're coming out thick and fast. Doug, it's see, the early bird catches the joke. That's our motto here.
That's right. If you're awake.
Yeah. We have segments on the show, like we different segments.
Good.
You know,
Excellent.
we have health section, we have an international section, we have a cooking section.
Cooking.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, is there any favourite meals that you have? Like, when
Absolutely,
this
yes.
all breaks out, is there a
Yes.
restaurant you're going to go to? Or
There's one in Cairns, Marinades, I think it's called. That's the Indian restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm making my own curries. So I'm well into making my own curries.
Yeah.
Lots of spice.
Yeah.
I like them really hot. Yeah.
Oh.
And a nice naan bread and a bit of chutney. But the other one I love is Vivo in Palm Cove.
Vivo. Okay.
Vivo's. Yeah. Breakfast, lunch,
It's not open
dinner. Anything.
Afternoon tea.
It is open. It's open, I think, for 10 people. So you can
Okay.
go in there and you can get takeaway. So you get your takeaway, you go and sit on the bench just opposite.
Yeah.
All COVID friendly,
Okay.
no problem. And it's beautiful food.
Okay.
So, yeah. So if I can't get the food I like, I try
Try.
and make my own.
So Indian.
But Indian.
Okay.
Absolutely. Spicy Indian.
Yeah.
That's my favourite.
Spicy
food.
Indian.
Yes.
Well, if you've just tuned in, this is Doug Holtam this morning, principal of our college.
Good morning.
With us, Freshwater Christian College. And it's probably a bit early to give you our gift for coming in. But seeing
Really?
you're
I have a
mentioning, everyone gets a gift. Usually we give money, Monopoly money.
Okay.
But we've got a special gift. Seeing you're mentioning cooking and curry,
Wow.
we've got you one of these.
That's phenomenal.
This is for curry.
Okay.
Yeah, this is made to put in curries.
Right.
The Indians grow it.
Okay.
Do you know what it's called?
I've never seen one of those
This is
before.
no.
I have no idea what it's
You
called.
may never see one again.
Is it a gourd?
It's a gourd.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a gourd.
Yeah. So
I knew what it was without even seeing it before.
So this is our gift for
gourd.
you this morning for coming in.
With
Specially
one
grown.
gourd, we received the gourd.
Yeah, especially given by Daphne. So she grows them in
Daphne,
her backyard.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Daphne, you send me a recipe.
What to do with it?
We cut this up and make a vegetarian curry. Is
Yeah.
that what?
No. I think you just put it like a filler sort of in the curry.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We could use vegetarian.
I'm going to do
Probably
it.
tastes like
over the weekend.
Tastes like steak.
I reckon I make 20 curries with this.
You make 20. We do have more.
I just hold this here now for the rest of the show.
You can hold that there. Oh, we can look
One,
after
two.
We can look after it for you.
Thank you so much. But
If
that's
you want
from
to get,
Daphne.
yes, yeah.
Thank you so much, Daphne.
Or if you want to get some
Thank
students together lately, you could probably have baseball, okay?
It looks like a baseball bat.
And probably still take it home and cook with it.
Brad Heaton, our ICT director,
Yeah.
he's a baseball player.
Okay.
Yeah, American.
Ah.
No, he knows
American
what he's
baseball?
doing. The real deal.
Okay. He doesn't know anything about curry.
But I won't give him that, Daphne, okay? To play baseball with.
Ah, good. So it's education.
Yes.
It's a big time
Christian education.
for schools, teachers,
Yes.
obviously principals all over Australia. Well, all over the world probably, but
Yes.
Australia particularly.
Yes.
What's some of the challenges that maybe people could pray about, or
Yeah.
the teachers are facing right now?
Yeah.
And then there's a transition for most teachers in Australia in the next, well, Queensland anyway,
Yes.
in the next week or two.
Yes, all the children back to school in Queensland on Monday, and we're ecstatic about that, and I think parents are ecstatic too. A lot of children have been at home for quite a long time now. So the main challenge, I would say, has been moving from a traditional face-to-face, as it's become known, form of teaching, to online education.
Yeah.
And that's been a massive learning curve, I would imagine, for every teacher around the world. I mean, a lot of us have gone into computer technology over the last 10 years,
Yeah.
but having to ramp it up so that everyone's on the same page and able to engage their children online, 25 children online, right in front of you, it's a very different way of teaching and learning. So that's been the biggest challenge. And I think I can't say enough about how wonderfully talented our staff are and how well they've transitioned from this traditional face-to-face learning that's been happening for 170 years or so formally to online learning, which is comparatively new 21st century form of learning and teaching. And now back to
Classroom.
face-to-face learning again. But obviously with a difference because of all the skills and all the new knowledge and understanding that our teachers have. Now they're going back to face-to-face, but with all of these additional skills, and so it won't be the same.
Wow.
It won't be the same.
That's huge, isn't it?
It is massive. We don't want our children looking at screens all day. Although research indicates that that's not the best thing for them.
Yeah.
But blended learning, that's the phrase, blended learning, where children really are learning in those tried and tested ways, but also blending that with computer technology. So they're outside in the trees, in the forests, doing the, all that type of thing, all the wonderful things that children like to do, and in the classroom using computer technology, accessing the web safely, and learning in a more enriched way. So it's been a lot of pluses have come out of it, but it's been a big challenge. And I think it's, our teachers are tired now. So actually getting them through these next few weeks with the children all coming back and the children being cooped up in their houses for all this time, so they're going to be full of energy, ready to go, and our teachers are like, okay, awesome. So
we need the coffee cart out here 24/7.
The coffee cart, intravenous coffee, prayer, and our teachers, we'll get through it, but it's taken a lot of energy, and energy is a very important resource that it's a finite resource.
I loved it. I was down there the other day with Mr. Jared, and he's doing, he's one of the teachers of the college, and he had on his laptop as he's wandering around with it 25 students on the screen on his laptop in little boxes that were plugging in. I think it was about 8:30 in the morning or something like that.
That's right.
They're all plugging in. He was in sort of almost secret locations, so they had to guess where he was, somewhere on the campus. And if they guessed or something like that, they got a box of chocolates or something, or gave him a box of chocolates. I'm not sure which way that worked out. And he's talking to all the students. They're all laughing. They're having fun. They're engaged. However, it's not the same, is it? As I could imagine for a teacher looking on and for a student looking back, it's very, very different. I don't know. I think back to my school years, what it would be like for me if they go, next week you're staying at home for a month or so, and we're going to send you all the stuff, and you'll be okay. What that would be like.
And I think socially, our children, we know before God that we're social beings.
Yes.
It's interesting. The Bible talks about us as being sheep.
Yes.
I don't really want to be compared to a sheep.
Yeah.
But we are best when we're together.
Yes.
In community.
Yeah.
And so our children, as they come back together, we all need to give them time to re-socialise and tell the stories, get back together with their group, and then we really, I think we'll be able to go from strength to strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. Mr. Jarrett was in my office actually as well, and the children had to try and guess where he was. They're all on the screen, and I'm not in the background, and he's scanning around my office, and they can't work it out. In the end, someone got it, but yeah.
A child had been naughty once and come to your office.
No,
I know where you are.
that was me at school. No, it was a teacher.
Okay, figured it all out. Yeah. And without letting the cat out of the bag, but we were talking the other day about how, first day back, it's not going to be sit down, we're going to get straight back into maths. You're really looking at a transition, integration sort of time for students to reconnect with each other, reconnect in a very powerful way. So that's exciting. I mean, that's the Freshwater advantage.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
I mean, reconnecting with God, reconnecting with each other.
Yeah.
And our teachers, and I always say it, they are go the extra mile people.
Yeah.
They're people that really want the very, very best for our young people. And we believe that every child is gifted. Every person on this earth is gifted. God is a great God who is generous and gives us wonderful gifts. And our job, and what I always say about my role is, I don't say I'm the principal.
Oh.
I say I'm in talent development. Is
Okay.
what I say. They say, oh, that's an exciting thing that you do. Talent development. Tell me more. And I say, well, I work with young people and help them to be the best versions of themselves and empower them, and then send them out where they can change the world and live meaningful lives.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? I'm the principal of a Christian school in Cairns.
Ah.
Wow. And that's the reality of what we all do as educators. We help young people to grow and develop and use their God-given talents and gifts, and then we empower them to go out and share those gifts with the world and make a difference and live a meaningful life and that abundant life that Jesus came to give us.
It's part of that value add, if I can say it that way, of Christian education, isn't it? God bless state school teachers in that way, but the value add you get from Christian education is very much, you still get the quality of education, but on top of that, you've got someone who not only teaches your children but believes in your children, and that was the model Jesus set. With the rabbis and things like that. That we just don't teach them; we believe in them, and that's a big component to get students over the line. In any case, isn't it?
Yes.
I know when I was young, having someone believe in you was very different to having someone teach you. You put the two together, and it's very, very powerful. Then you put pastoral care model on top of that.
That's right.
Where we really care about you. You're not a number, you're a person, and the personal, what would you say, almost coaching to get that person through into where they believe, or we believe, or family believes that young person could achieve and be is a fantastic model, isn't it? It's like creating an atmosphere, an environment for success, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's an environment where everyone's growing, and we want everyone to grow. So it's a learning community. That's the word. We're a learning community. Our staff are growing, our students are growing, we're all growing together. And to what end? To change the world, ultimately. It sounds a bit woolly, but that's what God calls us to use what we have to serve others and to live out the life that Jesus has called us to make this world a better place. And it takes a village to educate a child. You've heard that saying. And so our village, as I like to call it when I bring people around for tours, I say this is like a village. Everyone's known. Everyone's name is known. Schools where I've served, particularly overseas, big schools, 1,500, 1,000 students. It's a bit like, the only way they can do education that way is it's a bit like a conveyor belt. It's a bit like a factory. The child goes in one end, comes out the other, and hopefully, the completed article. But our school, everyone's known. It's a smaller school, 600 or so students with the kindy. So you're known. You're not a number. I'm not a number. Everyone's a person.
We're doing this series in our church daily devotion sort of series called Adventures in Exodus, which is the daily devotion of Exodus every day. And you see that God had Moses to some degree in many cases wasn't their leader, but he was God's ordained leader for them. And that's all they needed to know. This is God's ordained leader. But the way Moses was set up, I read between the lines in that way, but Moses was set up as an influencer.
Yes.
He was to influence, and that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
So when they go into the world, these young people, and whatever career path they take, they'd be influencers for good and for God.
Absolutely.
Because we believe that's the best life for them, isn't it?
Yes.
To be that, to be the head and not the tail, so to speak. Yeah,
absolutely.
Very good. Yeah, you haven't always been in education.
No.
Have you?
That's
so
true.
there's people listening today who probably don't know a little bit of your journey. Is there an abbreviated sort of?
There is.
We've only got an hour show. When I was young.
Let me tell you, I used to have cornflakes for breakfast, and then I would.
You know it's going to be long when it starts with when I was born.
Yes. Yes.
So you haven't always been a teacher. You started off your career life.
That's right. I started off in engineering.
Yeah.
So I started off as a mechanical engineer, and the reason for that was I really didn't know what else to do. I was good at metalwork, and I was good with my hands at making things, and I was good at technical drawing.
Okay.
And I wasn't really, and so I kind of drifted, I would say, into engineering. It was the only kind of thing that opened up to me, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I learned the basics of engineering, and then I was sponsored by a company, a big industrial, multinational company, through university, and learned more and more about engineering. It took me 7 years to get through all of that. And then I started my engineering career.
Was it a 7-year course?
There's a lot to it.
It was a 10-year course and you did it in 7 years. Congratulations.
Good on you. So once I qualified, I worked in a number of different departments. I really enjoyed metallurgy, which is the study of metals. Within the same. So I know a lot about steels. I could bore you for hours. I won't now, don't worry, about the structure of steels and how you can work with steel to create different kind of conditions for the steel. Then I worked in quality control. I worked in lots of different departments, design, and however, after about 5 years of that, I decided that I would go to teacher training college.
Okay.
And there's a bit of a story behind that. I had a really bad accident in the south of France. Okay. I was in a place called Cairns, where the film festival is in the south of France.
Okay. Like Cairns?
Yeah, like Cairns, but Cairns. You have to Cairns. It's easier to say Cairns. And I had this really terrible. I actually broke my neck.
Oh wow!
Which most people think you would die when you break your neck. You can actually survive it. Broke my neck in 3 places.
Wow!
I was in hospital for many. I know this isn't the question you asked me.
No,
but this determined where I actually left that career. Got some tissues.
This is a sad story.
It's well, but there's a good
happy ending.
There's a happy ending. Yay! It's like so.
Stay in there, folks.
So I was in hospital for weeks, and it took me months to recover. But I wasn't the same after.
Okay.
And I really questioned my life, where I was at, what I was doing, and what I was to do with this precious gift of life that can so easily be taken. Yeah. So then I thought, what shall I do?
Yeah.
I'll go to teacher training college. And at that time, I had no intention of becoming a teacher, believe it or not. I thought that's just something I could do, and I'll give it a go. And I said to my friends, I'm doing it for personal development.
Okay.
But it's I can't say I've been so personally developed through that 2 years, beyond what anyone could imagine. I mean, that's where I became a Christian during that time.
Okay.
So that was real personal development, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I found, God.
Last eternity.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been ongoing.
Okay.
So, and that led me to understand that I believe I was made to do this.
Okay.
And I think we're all made to do something.
Yeah.
In the hands of a great designer, our great God. So here I am, 100 years later.
So young.
It seems like a long time. No, it doesn't. It's gone very quickly.
You've probably touched on a little bit, but what is the best part of... We're not scripted here. It's low budget.
It's a good job.
Low budget or no budget, whichever way you look at it. What areas of perhaps education, perhaps to being a principal, do you enjoy the most? Like, what do you You know, it's like, what do you enjoy the most out of your day, let's say? Or
That's a really good question. I guess going back to what I said about, you know, in essence, what is my role? And it's to develop talent. It's to bring out gifting. And it's to see people grow. And I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people develop into the people that God has designed them to be. Because we've all got a journey that we go on, and God calls us to continually grow and develop and become more and more fulfilled in who we are and who we are in Him and in what we're doing. And I love to see that. I love to see people more fulfilled in what they're doing. They're more confident in what they're doing and who they are. That's the key for
so
me.
to see young people grow, which is sort of a longevity, isn't it? Like I know for me sometimes I see these children come in at, or have seen them come in at grade, I don't know, 7 or something like that. And then one day you're standing at the senior school awards nights, you know, or graduation, and you're going, hang on a minute, aren't you still in grade 7?
I know, they're about twice as tall.
Yeah, they're twice as tall, and they're filled out, and then they read out all the awards that they've won, and you think, seriously, that potential was inside you in a seed form.
Yes.
It just needed some watering to sort of bring it out.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
That's a really good analogy. And I think most of all, we like to see the children who sometimes come to us and they're broken.
Okay.
11 years old, and maybe they've been bullied or they've suffered, you know, in their lives. Their home background is difficult, and you see over years, you see them transformed. And it's what does it is that love and nurturing that comes from our staff and from the people around, from the community. And you see them develop, and it's fantastic to see them at year 12 as they graduate.
Yeah.
Confident in who they are, and able to go out and make a difference. So, and you look back to that 11, 12-year-old and think, is this the same person? Yes, it is. And as you say, that seed of brilliance, the seed of greatness. Someone once said greatness is in every human being.
Yeah.
And I believe it.
Yeah.
I really do.
It's without talking out of school, that little pun there, but
That's very funny.
without talking out of school, there is students who do come in who've been, you know, as you said, bullied, perhaps in other schools.
Yes.
And it's sort of just the environment, or, you know, the not extra, but the normal love that we offer all students. And see that lifted off them, and yet that greatness was in there. You know, not greatness is because, you know, they didn't leave grade 12. They've done nothing great yet. You know, they've passed and they've done really, really well, and that's fantastic. Now they've got to put that into action. But it's great to see, you know, that potential was there. It was, but it had the capacity to be shut down.
Yes,
didn't it? You know,
absolutely,
like squashed. And, you know, squash the character, then a lot of things go with that, don't you? You lose confidence. Like the Bible says, don't throw away your confidence, because you'll have need of it in times of endurance, you know.
That's
So it's great, well, for you to see, and I see the same sort of thing too, and it's very, very exciting. You mentioned a moment ago about your journey, and then in amongst that journey, you met Melissa.
Yes.
How did that work?
That was exciting, one of the most exciting times of my life. So that was
you listening, Melissa?
It's a good start. It's all downhill from here. Let's keep going.
We've started strong.
Riding away. So, and I was at teacher training college.
Okay.
And I was coming towards the end of the course. It was a 2-year course.
Yeah.
I was coming towards the end of it, and I'd seen Melissa around.
Oh.
You know?
Because she's a teacher.
She was training to be a primary teacher this was in Greenwich in London.
Okay.
She was training to be a primary teacher. I was a secondary teacher, but Melissa had a particular strand within her course, a technology strand. Yeah. So she would often be in the same zone as I, because I trained in technology. Melissa was there in a technology area quite often. And there was this one time, so our paths crossed.
Yes.
And I thought, who's that? You know, as you do, as a young fella. And we had a few little conversations waiting in the queue in the canteen.
Yes.
But then there was this time when Melissa was in this room with this friend of hers, and they were making this great big piece of furniture as part of the technology course. And it was Thunderbirds 2, I think, from memory. And it was actually a bed that Melissa was making for her family. And she had this saw, like a jigsaw. And I walked in and I was the senior course, so advanced, the advanced course.
I noticed the inflection on senior there.
I kind of walked in the room like, what's going on here? What are you doing with that saw? What's all this? That'll never fly. That's what I said about their work, their bed, Funburst too. That'll never fly. That was my joke. But I got talking to Melissa and there was a connection. Okay. There was a chemistry. Yeah. That's the right word. Chemistry. Yeah. You remember that, darling. Chemistry. We still have that chemistry, by the way. It's still there. Very important in a marriage. So I remember we talked and we just got to know each other really well. And so it was all at Teacher Training College. Okay. Yeah.
Did you sort of, this is very personal, but did you sort of then go out on dates together, or did you it was all through college?
We did go on, we went to the beach together. I think we went to Eastbourne to the beach, and we just really liked each other. Yeah. We really liked each other.
I can imagine you would have laughed a lot.
Yes. This is very funny. She's from Liverpool. Okay. Liverpool is like the comic city, the comical city of England. Yeah. They got a joke for everything.
Is that right?
They are very, very...
Do they laugh about themselves? Yes. Or is it that type of humour?
They really do. They're very deprecating. They laugh about themselves. It's one of those down-to-earth, real British cities where... it's gritty and it's in the north. The gritty northerners. And I'm from the south of England, so I'm from London. And the northerners see the southerners as being a bit soft, a bit wishy-washy. But these are, real solid people up in the north, up in Liverpool and Newcastle. And they are tough cities. They're working class cities. And Melissa, she's very funny. And she's very good at... She just understands me and asks me the hard questions when she needs to. Okay. So I think we make a great team, darling. Don't we? Melissa said she would listen.
Okay. Well, these are, as I said, unformatted questions. Put you on the spot.
Anything could happen.
Josh does this. He goes, "I'm about to ask you a question." Then he talks for like 10 minutes to give me time to think of the answer.
Good move. Good move.
But I'm not that strategic.
Melissa is listening. She said, "Thank you, darling."
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Melissa's listening. That's great.
She can cook a curry when you get them.
But the thing about Melissa in that time, this is the most significant.
Are you going for the extra mile now?
Extra mile, icing on the cake. Here comes the honey. So Melissa said to me, she said, "Do you want to come to a prayer meeting?"
Yes.
Out of nowhere.
Oh, you as a non-Christian person?
Me, I'm a non-Christian.
Yeah. You like her?
I like her, and I know she's a Christian, and I'm not a Christian. Never didn't grow up in a Christian home. So she said, "This is her killer line. Do you want to come to a prayer meeting?" What a shut-up line that is. So I said, "No, I don't want to come to a prayer meeting."
Serious?
I did. So, but then Melissa said she didn't give up easily. She said, "Well, do you want to come to church?" Okay. And I thought, don't know. I'll let you know. Okay. And I remember driving my car. Round the M25, which is the ring road around London where we live. They call it the biggest car park in England. Okay. Because the traffic's usually at a standstill around the M25. I'm driving around and I get to this off-ramp where I'm going off. It's called a motorway, not a freeway in England. So I'm about to turn off. And as I'm about to turn off, comes into my head, church, yes or no? And as I turn off, I make the decision, yes.
Wow.
And that was the changing point. Yeah. I remember it clearly. And then I went to church, I committed my life to God, and it was almost like I took off.
Wow.
It was like I was playing on the ground, and then I took off.
Turn off to the airport.
Yeah, and Melissa and I got married, how long after? Just a few months later we got married. Yeah. Wow. Because we just knew. I knew. I'd never been more sure of anything in my life than that I needed to marry Melissa. That was the thing that I the most blessing I could do. And she's been a great wife. Wow. Yeah. Glad she's watching.
You've said that 3 times now. It's she's starting at the top, isn't she? Come to the prayer meeting, then come to church. Yes. Next will be a life group under that.
Yes. And
She
then
break
a prayer walk.
You had prayer walk, and she broke it right the way down. She wasn't giving up, was she?
But the incredible thing was that after we got interested in each other, I'm not married yet.
Yeah.
But Melissa said, I'm going on this mission trip to Portugal.
Yeah.
Okay, Portugal, next to Spain, and I thought, oh, okay, what's that?
Yeah.
And
Portugal or the mission trip?
Well, both. No, I knew what Portugal was. Okay. So very good. So I went to. By the way, I was going through Switzerland one time.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, what do you think about Switzerland?" I said, "I don't know, but your flag is a big plus." That's a good one. Your flag is a big
Yeah.
plus. It's the flag, the shape of it.
Yeah, we
Well,
have to
anyway,
explain some jokes too.
You got to know your flags.
You got to know you got to know a 3-year course in flags.
But I remember thinking a mission trip to Portugal. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll see if I can get on that. You know. So I spoke to the guy who was running it.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yes, you can come, Doug." So so I went, and it was the strangest thing I've ever done. It was because I was a new Christian, and I'm with this group of Christians that are full-on Christians, really reaching out and doing all these amazing things in the community. And I was only just into the things of God.
Yeah.
So I thought, I had, what are these people doing?
Yeah.
What's happening around me?
Yeah.
You know, and it was a real eye-opener. But more than anything, I thought, these people have something that I haven't got.
Wow.
And I want that.
Yeah.
So, and that was probably in those early stages when I went to church, mission trip, whatever I was doing around Christians, I thought they have something that I need. They have something that I don't have. There's something missing. And I fully want that. And you know, and God, He's a generous God. So He gave me that.
Wow.
Life more abundant is what He said He came to give.
It was like Jane and her brother
Yeah.
basically got saved around the same time. And they were young, so they were like, let's go to the youth camp.
Yes.
The youth camp was coming up, so they signed up for the youth camp. They're at the youth camp, sat down the first meeting, I think it was, only to find out it was a 3-day youth camp, but it was a 3-day fasting youth camp.
That was a thing back then. What a youth camp that would be. 3-day fasting.
So,
Serious.
well, it was something like that, yeah, but it was a fasting camp.
The time went slow.
Yeah. So, a bit like your situation.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking.
It's shocking.
You're shocked into thinking, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They've got something I need. And
It's an interesting thought, isn't it? Like we're doing a bit of a series, Josh and I, over the last couple of mornings about relationships, and it's sort of it's a big thing for people who are single, no matter what age they're at, a stage of life they're at. That and dare I say it, that sometimes we look inside the church for that person.
Yes.
Yet I've met many people who are successfully, like yourself,
Yes.
who have found, or Melissa perhaps more, has found someone outside the church, got them saved, and then decided that they're worthy of the relationship, if you say it that way.
Yes. Can I say something about that? Because Melissa, I can tell a story here, but I'll tell it because I know the story. So Melissa,
we often have the wives on the following week to see if they tell the same story.
That's not how I remember it. So here's the real story. Melissa's on next week. Is she? Okay. So Melissa told me later that she'd gone to her pastor.
Yes.
And said to the pastor, "There's this guy,
Yeah.
and I like him, and he likes me. What do you think?" So she went to her pastor and asked advice.
Yes.
And that's great advice, I think, for anyone who because you've got to know before God.
Yes.
And taking wise counsel from your pastor about something as life changing as choosing your life partner, your husband or your wife, it's not a thing to be taken lightly. In all seriousness, that is what Melissa did. And the pastor said to her, go after this man.
Wow.
I'm going to pray about it.
He's a good pastor.
We're going to pray about it. Yes, good on you, Terry. That's Terry Watson. He's living on the coast of Kent now. So
Okay.
Great guy,
Yeah.
very wise, and I think he knew from God that this was the right thing.
That's very powerful.
I don't think he said yes to everyone.
Yeah, no, it's very
He looked
powerful.
very carefully and wisely at the situation, and he said to Melissa, "Okay, go after this guy."
Because the Bible does encourage us, doesn't it? It says, don't be unequally yoked with an unbeliever because their beliefs are different. And you get 10 or 15 years down the track and you go, I'm in prison rather than in heaven,
Yes.
But I think it's powerful, like you're saying, is that when people come to me, it's like, and hear me, well, let me finish the conversation. It's a bit like them coming to God.
Yes.
Because you, as a pastor, you're God's representative to them.
God's ambassador.
Yeah,
Yes.
And as they run it by you, it's like them running it past God.
Yes.
Now, I think they need to run it past God and pray and all of that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
But I've found sometimes God looks on that and says, you're willing to humble yourself. Some people run it past you to get your approval on their decision.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They've already decided.
Yeah,
I hope you're going to endorse this with
If you don't, it doesn't matter, But I don't think
Yeah.
Melissa would have done that. And,
No.
and so being able to lay that all down and do that, I think is very, very powerful, really.
Yes.
Because I can imagine Melissa, in her case, walked out of that office feeling like, okay, this is real now.
Yes.
I've talked to my spiritual oversight, my leader, my pastor, my confidant, and now I feel like now I need to be wise about how I do it, because I'm sure he would have shared some wisdom with it.
Yeah.
Wise about how I actually do this.
Absolutely.
And obviously you jumped through all the right hoops, so to speak.
I did. I mean, I had a lot of prayer, and most of my family's not saved, but I think at that time we were really praying for my whole family, and we saw many amazing things happen, and they're moving closer and closer to God. I'm talking about my family in England, my parents and other people, and we have lots of conversations about God these days, which is very exciting. And they say never talk about politics and religion, right? So we talk about both. Yeah. And I think there's a lot to discuss and a lot to think through. But Melissa took wise counsel, and wise counsel is always a good thing. In my role as a leader, that's something I do a lot. So I try not to make decisions just on my own. What I have found is that the decisions where I've made a mistake, I can trace it back usually to I sat in a room and made a decision on my own without seeking wise counsel. So this wise counsel thing, what is it? There's wisdom in a multitude of counsellors.
Yes.
It's written on the Victorian Parliament building, on the floor of the Victorian Parliament. As you go in, it's there on the ground. So I won't get political now about Victorian government, but what a great thing to have in Parliament as you walk in. There's wisdom in a multitude of counsellors. And that's what government should be about, right? But it applies to us in whatever role we're in. We can take wise counsel, and you'll always make a better decision if you seek wise counsel from your pastor, from a group of people, from students. It doesn't matter. Young people have got a lot of wisdom in there. I
remember, because I love cars, and I was talking to a guy one day about buying a European car. Because, I love the I don't know, styles, or it just seems a little bit more thought gone into a European car. And he said to me, because we were in Cairns, he said, if you can't afford to buy, because I was looking at a second-hand one, he said, if you can't afford to buy a new one, don't buy a second-hand one. Okay. And I thought, what do you mean by that, He said, you think about it for a while, And I thought, oh. And then I thought, the cost of sometimes seeing them repaired and what goes on beyond once you pay the initial price can be quite expensive, to the point it nearly builds up to buying a new one over time. And I thought that great wisdom in that counsel, and therefore I didn't buy a European car, and so on and so forth, because I steered away from because of that advice.
Steered away.
Yeah, steered away. Steered away. That was You're very quick to pick up on my jokes, Doug. We may have a little joke section. Here's
let's do that. I think I've got one more joke.
You've got one more joke?
Maths teachers.
Oh, good. Here's some ones I just... Why were the Queen's? We have to call it a joke section.
The Queen?
No. We have to call it a joke section so people actually
No,
realise we're joking. Because sometimes they just go over people's head. Taylor. This is the joke section. We'll have it closed. This is the end of the joke section in a minute.
Have we got canned laughter somewhere?
No, usually we joke, we laugh enough. Even if they're not funny, the laughing is funny. Why were the Queen's subjects soaking wet?
Don't know.
Because she was the reigning monarch.
Oh,
Hey, Keith, what's the lowest rank in the army? Brett goes, I'm not telling you, it's private. This is a modern day joke revamped, but did you hear about the trapeze artists who got married? They fell for each other on the net.
Oh, that's an online one.
Yeah, that's an online joke, yeah. Okay. What's being done about the gaping hole that appeared overnight in the prison wall? The police are looking into it.
Reminds me of the mathematician who was he was afraid. Would you believe he was afraid of negative numbers?
Okay.
Yeah, he'd stop at nothing to avoid them. He'd stop at nothing to avoid them.
Yeah.
We're laughing anyway. This is all about us.
Yeah, this is all about.
Yeah. No, you're not.
You
laughing.
guys just do your own thing.
Drink your coffee. Carry on drinking your coffee.
Yeah.
Eating your toast. We're just having a ball.
Yeah. Someone was saying the other day they were listening to this is the end of the joke section.
Moving on.
Yeah, we should play music or something just so people know. But I was listening to someone the other day who was listening to this show and then the Sunday services, and they're saying. This is a guy. He's saying, "Yeah, I always listen in my pajamas." I'm going, "Oh, it's just too much information." I like to think where everyone's appropriately dressed.
Some people get dressed up, I've heard.
Is it? Yeah, they do. I think it's a good thing.
Dressing up for Jesus.
Yeah, dressing up on Sunday.
Yeah.
One thing when we're out the bush, visiting farmers and things like that, I think it was me more so, but I think it was a lot of other people who were out there as well, country people who live out there. One of the things I really missed was dressing up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Sunday best.
Yeah, you sort of had this t-shirt, jeans, boots.
Yeah.
You go out to the pub for tea, or because that's the main place in the bush where you get a good meal. You go out there for tea or something like that, and it would look a bit odd if you wore your best.
Yes,
to
of course.
the pub on a Tuesday night sort of thing when they got Palmer and chips or something.
Sounds classy.
Yeah. The thing I loved out there, they don't have it in the city though, as much as in the restaurants.
Okay.
Crumb steak.
Crumb steak?
Oh.
Never had that.
Oh, haven't you?
Never.
Next level.
Never heard of that.
Haven't you?
Really?
Oh, next level.
So you can get it in Cairns? You can't?
You can buy it in the butcher shop.
Okay.
Yeah, crumb steak.
Okay.
but-
Crumbed fish?
Yeah.
I've had that, crumb
No,
fish.
that's just crumbed, the thin steak.
Okay.
It's a bit difficult to cook. They just usually cook it for a little bit, then they deep fry it. Just dip it in the deep fryer. It comes
good.
out. And it's crisp on the outside. And
crumb steak.
Yeah. It's just so usually because it's so thin steak, it's very tender.
So where in Cairns have you found crumb steak?
No, that's it. I
just
haven't been able to find it.
Not in a restaurant, not in the butcher's?
No. Maybe there's some people out there that know where you can get good crumb steak. Not at the butcher's. This has to be cooked in a restaurant. You could let us know. Send a note in right now and let us know where you get that crumb steak. Because we're out at Hewenden.
Absolutely.
There's a pub there and it's got a veranda on it. At Hewenden, you sit virtually under the stars, out in the middle of nowhere. It is so silent, you can't hear anything.
Okay.
Sometimes at night there could be, a bit of a crowd, about 4 people in the pub.
It's a long way to go for a road trip.
It's a
day trip.
it's a long way for a crumb steak.
Well, for one day.
It's about 2 days drive.
2 days drive for a crumb steak.
Yeah.
Sounds like it might be worth it.
But it hangs over the side of the plate, this crumb steak,
Absolutely.
But because it's so thin, you're not eating, half a cow.
Sounds awesome.
But they had the most tenderest one there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's another place down south, I can't think of it. Not anyway, New South Wales, and they had the butcher shop right opposite the pub.
Okay.
And that meat was outstanding. We actually went over next day and bought a whole bunch of meat. I said, Jane, where are we going to cook that? And go, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But
There's one thing that concerns me if I go to the butchers and say, have you got any crumb steak?
Yeah.
We might have a beef about it.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying there might be a bit of a...
if he doesn't do it.
No. There's a good butcher shop down in... There's a lot of good butcher shops in Cairns. Okay. I think Marsh's is great.
These are our sponsors.
Yeah, this is a sponsor on that shirt. Because we do have a food section where we promote our famous section. Because we're moving into another section.
Yes.
But there's one in Edge Hill.
Okay.
It's quite good as a butcher shop. They win a lot of awards there.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever been in there.
I've been to Edge Hill, but there's some good restaurants there.
Yeah. No,
I don't know the butchers.
Just down from Noah's, there's a butcher shop.
We can't
They've got a meat cleaver as a door handle.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, welded to the door.
Fantastic.
It's quite cool. It's worth going just to do that.
Worth going to open the door.
But you get in there and it's really nice. Like this is,
Sharp.
I'm talking 5-star meat shop.
Right.
Yeah, not your average butcher.
I should go and check that out.
You should check it out. It's really worth it. Yeah, in Edge Hill.
Yeah.
I think this is. I'm not sure as the other one's open at. What's that place called? Earlville, I think it is. Is that what's that one called, Josh? I don't know, but there's one over there at one of those restaurants. Yeah, Red Lynch is good. Now he's South African, the guy there.
Okay.
So you get I can't never say it. The Burgerwurst.
Bratwurst.
No.
Bratwurst.
Is that? Yeah, the round sausage. Yeah.
Yeah,
you cook
the wurst.
Yeah, very hard to cook.
It's the best, not the worst.
Is that right? Joke section.
South African people.
The joke section's ended.
Back to the joke section.
We just opened the joke section again, and we're closing it now.
That's it. No more jokes. No more fun.
Well, I've discovered when you actually tell a joke and then you say something serious, people can't tell whether it was a joke or not.
Yes. Serious mode.
Because, I don't know, anyway, it's all about discernment.
Absolutely.
We don't want people walking away with a question mark going, was he joking or was he serious?
That's a good point.
Anyway, so we've covered education.
Yes.
And we've talked about you and Melissa being able together. Yeah. We've got Sunday coming up. That's not far away, is it? Sunday, 10 a.m. Is it? And 6 p.m. I want to talk about relationships this week. 6 qualities of outstanding families. And the first point has challenged me more than anything. And I think it's one of the greatest keys to having a good family. And it's one of the, dare I say it, the hardest to do, but the easiest to obtain.
Yes.
So anyway, there's a little bit of a teaser. Then Sunday night we want to talk, continue the series of the difference between, Pastor Heidi started, the difference between a peacekeeper and a peacemaker.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And so we're talking about resolving conflict and how you actually do that.
Yeah,
we were talking the other day about sometimes for children, they look at a mum and dad, dare I say it, starting an argument or having an argument in the lounge room, but then going in the bedroom to resolve it.
Yes.
So a lot of children can see how to start an argument,
yes,
but they don't know how to wrap it up.
No, that's
and so we're going to talk about the framework for conflict resolution, because some people don't know how to resolve conflict, and therefore they get offended, they get upset, then they have to forgive someone if they ever talk to them again, and all of that sort of stuff, which is totally unnecessary if they just knew how to work through conflict. Yes. So we're going to talk about those sort of things on Sunday anyway, and all that. But why don't you spend some time, Doug, telling us Freshwater Christian College. Yes. We've only got another 10, 15 minutes of the show left, so time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
So, in a concise way, Freshwater Christian College, if you were going to do an ad about Freshwater Christian College, and this is the ad. We do have ads.
Yes.
We had Snuggies the other day. We've had Vivos this morning. We've had La Crouton. It's open now.
Yes. Very good.
Stuff like that. So,
very good.
This is me giving you time to think. Not that you need it, because I know it's on the top of your heart.
Yes.
To do that. But what would you say makes Freshwater Christian College what it is today?
I think you could say,
if you're a parent,
yes. So you could say it's the, and I do principals tours and I take people around. And I think you could say it's the grounds. Yeah. The grounds are great. It's tropical setting. It's beautiful. I mean, we've got the mountains. When I first came here, I looked at it and thought, this is beautiful. What a fantastic setting to raise a generation of young people. Great backdrop, beautiful grounds, lots of space, beautiful village feel. So you could say it's the environment. You could say that. And some people do. They say, oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it is. It's lovely. You could say it's the facilities. Fantastic facilities, engineering facilities. We've got great science facilities, drama, art. We're building new buildings, plans. We've got great plans. We've got a great master plan. We could say it's the facilities. We could say it's the labs and the auditorium that we get to use and the technology that we have. We could say that. Great library. I could go on. But what it is fundamentally is it's about the people. Because a community, a school, like a church, it's not a building. A school is a group of people and a community. So it's the sense of community, and it's the sense of we're in this together. We're in this together with God. And what is our role? To raise a generation of young people that they grow in their gifts and talents, and that they go out into this world, live a fulfilled, meaningful, abundant life, and make a difference. And then, as you and I believe, will be able to do, as we get older, we become more reflective. We look back on our lives and we think, what did I do? What did I spend my life on? Like, if you had $20, what would you spend it on? You know, we spend our lives. What do we spend them on? We spent our lives on serving other people.
That's good.
On helping other people to be the best versions of themselves that they can be.
Good.
So fundamentally, what is our school about, and how would I sell it in an advert? It's about people, blessing people, serving people, raising up a generation to change this world, to make it a better place. I mean, we live in a blessed country. Australia is a fantastic. To me, I've only lived in 2 different countries, several cities, visited a lot of countries around the world. I would say that Australia, on balance, is probably the best country in the world to live in. It's hard for me to be objective about that, but it is a fantastic place. I've lived in Melbourne, I've lived up here, visited all the major cities in Australia. We've got mountains, we've got... Anyway, back to the question. So it's about... And what informs that? The thing that informs that is hope. Hope that these young people can, as you said, they've got the potential. All we need to do is draw it out and give them an opportunity and help them learn from their mistakes and not crush them. Hope, faith that God is with us, that we can trust God, that He's doing great works as well if we trust Him. And the most important qualification that our students would have when they leave Freshwater Christian College, the most important qualification is that they are following Jesus with those values: integrity, perseverance, humility, values that will serve them for the rest of their lives. They're following Jesus. They've got a great ATAR, a great OP, it's ATAR now as well, which opens up doors of opportunity. Or they're going into the world of business, they're going into the world of work, they're going to go into the vocational sphere and make a difference there. Whatever they're called to do, and we talk about the 9 mountains of influence that people can climb, different mountains. Everyone's made to do something, and there's diversity, thank goodness. We can't all be a teacher. We can't all be in the medical industry. We need people to be in every sphere of life, serving with God's strength. So there's a few things. And it's a privilege to serve God in this way, to raise a generation. You think of what you could do with your life, how you could spend it. And I say to our teachers very often that raising a generation of young people, what a privilege. Everything's important in this world, right? In terms of serving others, in terms of helping. But raising a generation, that's a great privilege. And it's wonderful to be involved in that. And there's a flavour of Freshwater Christian College, that we are a place, we are a community of people that are passionately committed to seeing other people become the best versions of themselves that they can be.
That is fantastic, because that conversation, obviously there's a lot, they're just words, but behind all that is the action that we are talking about.
Yes.
And that's why we number 9 college in Queensland.
We are. I didn't mention that in my little ad just then.
Yeah.
So based on our OP results from last year, we're the 9th ranked school in all of Queensland.
Yeah.
And the number 1 school in far north Queensland. So that's a great testament to the teamwork. Not just from the senior teachers, they've borne the brunt of the front edge, if you like, but right from kindy all the way through to year 12, there's been a massive investment over time.
Yeah.
And the outworking of that is fantastic results, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore that. And that's been the case for many years now.
Yes.
OP1s and children, training in all sorts of different spheres of life, from the very echelons of professional life, and I'm not going to stratify what's important and what's not. As we serve each other and God and community, every role is important. But opening doors for our students to serve in the world of medicine, in law, in politics, these are really important things as well.
I think over time, Christian education sure has evolved, and it's really, in a good way. I think it's really coming to a bit of a knife edge now to go, this is what we're about and this is what we're not about.
Yes.
And I think the over the years, sadly, a lot has been said. You can't have spirituality, a high level of spirituality, and academia in the same person.
Yes.
And sadly, they've sort of gone, which one do you want?
Yes.
Do you want your child to be super spiritual, or do you want them to do well in academia? Because the two don't go together. But that's not what we believe.
Not at all.
No. We believe it's, and the results show it.
Yes.
We believe that you can have Jesus, the Bible says in Luke 2:52, increased in wisdom, in stature, and favour with God and favour with man.
Yes.
So we believe that it's very, very possible to the two to actually go together. In fact, they shouldn't ever go apart.
They should coexist.
Coexist together.
I think that's very true, and our role is to provide opportunity for every young person to actually do their gift, develop that gift and talent. Whether it's a gift with their hands, with their minds, or both, combination of those. And I think the sad thing is that we dumb down the hands, the trades, at the expense of the professional career areas, and that's a mistake because we need all of the professions, don't we?
Oh, totally.
We need them all, but it is wonderful that we can actually offer that range of opportunities. Vocational education, those that are going on to academia, and the fantastic thing about Australia and other countries in the US and in the UK is that there are more and more Christian tertiary organisations opening up, Christian universities, where people can go and train in Christian theology and continue to do, whether it's education or law or business, that they can do that within a Christian worldview perspective, which is a wonderful thing. No,
that's very, very important, isn't it? Because it's that aspect of once school's out, continuing that influence. The thing I love too about Freshwater students is I see their parents sort of researching the right sort of education for their child. The Bible says, bring up a child in the way they should go and they'll never depart from it. If you go back in a paraphrase version, it's very, very, I think it brings greater strength to that scripture. It says, bring up your child with their God-given bent, and they'll never depart from it. That's good. And the job of teachers and coaches and, and then I think what we're talking about this morning is to find that God-given bent. Cooperating with parents as a family. You don't deal with a child, you're dealing with a family. To find that God-given bent and then to nurture it and to grow it and expand on that. And the thing I love about, as I said, Freshwater, as I listen to parents and listen to you talk and that, parents are asking questions, they're looking around, they're going on tours with you, which is really great because you can go on a tour of the college and get to meet with you personally.
Please come and book a tour on our website.
If you want to go on a tour, go to Freshwater, freshwater.org.au. That's how we say it.
That's great. freshwatercc.qld.edu.au.
AU. So you can go on one of those tours, and that way, not just a tour with the principal, but you can ask the principal questions that may arise right there when you're on that tour.
And of all things that I do, well, there are lots of things that I do that I really enjoy, but I love going on principals tours.
Yeah.
Because everyone's living in this narrative. We live in this grand narrative that God has. We're all characters in a narrative, as it were, in that sense. And these young people come and I talk to the parents. What are they good at? What do they like doing? Where are their gifts and talents like? Oh, they're good at art and they love sport. And I think, okay. Yeah. And let's take them to the sport area. Let's take them to the art area. And let's talk about wearable art, which we're kind of leading the nation in wearable art. Wow! And wearable art, I'd call it fashion design. It's more than that. Yeah. It's wearable. It's literally wearable art. Wow. And we're not world. That's a bit much, but
we're up there. If we're in Australia, we're in Queensland.
In terms of education,
we're up there.
We have national awards in that area, and Renee's one of our teachers. Sangamara, well done. Her a big shout out. Yeah. I don't have to mention every teacher's name now, and I should, because they're all very talented. But so
it would take a long one.
And there's so many areas.
And you'd leave one out, that'd be terrible.
But I can't help but
a great team.
Sing the praises of our wonderful team and what we can do with what we've got and what God has given us over the years. And it's been developed by amazing people. You're one of them. Hector Costello and many, many others. We stand on the shoulders of champions, and we are positioned now to really, really to go from strength to strength, so that our young people have got every opportunity to use those gifts and talents to do what God's called them to do, to go out into the world and to make a difference.
And technology is a big part of that too, isn't it? We're not leaving that out, but I think we've been talking a little bit about what you want technology to do and what you want technology not to do, so that there's not an stimulus on technology. There's still that interaction, socialization and stuff, which is super important. Because if you don't get on with your boss, it doesn't matter how clever you are on the keys,
No, that's
or get on a team. That's important. It's fantastic, isn't it, to see and have that. I think about those tours and stuff sometimes is very much like being able to, if it was me and I was going again, I would bring my grandparent, Julia's grandparents. I'd bring everybody on that to involve them in the decision you're making.
Grandparents come.
To do that. So that the tour you're really open to that. Yeah.
Well, you've got the most precious thing that these parents have, their child, the most precious thing. And we want to celebrate who they are. Yeah. We want to nurture them. We want to raise them up and help them to be confident and world changers. Yep. And that's what we're doing. Yep. Well, it's not a job.
Well, no. It's a calling.
It's a great calling and it's a great privilege.
It is. Yeah. And as we wrap up today, thanks,
thank you.
The senior life coach of Freshwater Christian College, Principal Mr. Doug Holtam, with us today. Promoting Freshwater College, affordable Christian education for children in Cairns. And I trust if you're listening today, you know somebody, a neighbour, a friend, who maybe have a child that is not happy at their school and stuff like that. Have you looked at Freshwater lately? Be able to take a look and see what we do. And, if you be part of it, fantastic. If you're not part of it, well, maybe we're sowing a seed of Jesus in their hearts to be part of a great college right here in Cairns. Can you believe it? So fantastic. Thanks, Doug, for getting out of bed early this morning.
Pleasure. Thank you,
early for you today. And
it's a great privilege.
Melissa will be looking forward to giving you a great cuddle and kiss for all those positive words.
Good on you, Doug.
That you would have said anyway.
Of course.
So we've had cooking, we've had jokes, we've had all these different things, restaurant advice, ads, promotion, we've had marriage advice, all those things today. Freshwater Drive. Hey, it was great having you today. Thanks. We're heading into the weekend. Sunday's coming. Friday's here, Sunday's coming. And I trust you want to be part of a good local church. Freshwater is a good local church. Freshwater College, great local college right here on the campus. If not, I trust you enjoy yourself in your church, wherever you're watching in the world, that you really, really enjoy being part. And you can't give your pastor a big hug and kiss, but maybe you can send him a little SMS to say, Pastor, cheering you on today, because remember, a phone rings two ways. So if you're challenged in this hour by different things that are unfolding every day, then make sure you stay connected and make sure you've got good people around you to encourage you, support you, and pray for you. I trust today you have a great day. The weather in Cairns today is sunny, rainy, and cloudy. So you can look forward to an outstanding day. That's the weather. We do the weather every day.
Well done.
Yeah. We don't have to look at computers. We just look out the window. What's it going to be like this afternoon? Sunny, rainy, and cloudy.
Absolutely.
It'll be one of those three.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, with the high humidity today. It's raining. So God bless you. Have the best day of your life. And thank you again for watching Freshwater Drive. See you Monday, 7 a.m. or Sunday at 10 and 6 if you want to be part of our services. Check us out. God bless you. Have the best day of your life. Amen.
Bless you. Amen.
Thank you so